And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, back for another one today was the Texas Two Step. Our thanks to Dallas Alexander for joining us there. Great Canadian artist. If you've not found out, country music is the best. It is the best here on the Backstage Pass. Artists come from all different directions. And of course, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. And of course, out there in Honky Tonk, Texas. You can also catch us internet wide, hightidecountry.net, and powered by the sportsguys podcast.com. We got a good one for you coming up this weekend, Saturday, September 2nd. Pedrati's Ranch in San Antonio, Texas. Ticket sales now at ticketbud.com with the legend Mo Bandy, of course. And our guest today, T.G. Sheppard, joining us here on the Backstage Pass, and Johnny Lee coming up this weekend. What's up, T?
Well, I'm just trying to get discovered. Can you help me?
You know what? Hey, man.
Actually, I'm sitting here right now, and then after I get through with our visit, I'm headed down to the Ryman to catch my friend, the comedian Leanne Morgan, and she's so funny. So we're going to go catch her show.
I need to
No,
go
I'm
see it.
excited to be coming out with Mo and Johnny. We do only 2 or 3 of these shows a year, and we picked this particular spot to come to this time. So I hope everybody will come out.
Ticket sales have been very well so far and very good. Marlene Cox, Full Circle Moments, presenting a sponsor there too, and of course putting on the event there for a big show this weekend. Ticketbud.com there too. Well, I got to ask you too, because we had Kelly on just a couple weeks ago, and she was talking about her new single. You were in the other room working, doing some video editing. What's the latest? What's going on in your world now?
Well, I took a little reprise from my Sirius XM show for a while because Kelly and I are getting ready to announce a project that we're doing together. And time didn't permit for me to do 2 different type shows. So we're very excited about it. It's a video podcast that we'll be doing with a lot of our friends and our Rolodex. And it'll be like a who's who of people in movies and TV and singers and authors and sports people. I do know who will be on the show, but it should be fun. And that and touring a lot. I'm just on tour, and then she and I are in the studio right now, finishing up our second duet project together, another duet album. And we've just been busy. I mean, just more of the same, I'm a road dog. I love working the road.
Yeah, I love what you guys did on the 2014 Iconic Duets album. Made me think a lot about that too. I went back and listened to a lot of the great songs on there. Of course, Islands in the Stream and Just You and I. Y'all really put a great feel. Just you and Kelly have that just synchronization down when it comes down to it. The sound, I mean, feeding off each other. And I can't wait to see what this new one's like. But if you go back to that duets one in 2014, there's some really cool stuff on there too.
I think this one's going to be better because we dug a little deeper into the songs that we love from the past, and we'll be doing some songs that hopefully people will remember and like. And we do a few of these in our concerts when we are able to work together from time to time. So it's fun to get back in the studio. Kelly is easy to work with. It's great to be married to somebody who understands what you do for a living, and her being a performer herself, then she understands everything I go through when I come back in off the road and tell her what might have happened at a show or something.
What'd you think? Just a couple weeks ago, we had her here on the program. The latest single I thought she put out was fantastic. I thought it was just very powerful. One of those type of just gospel songs that really just grabs you by the neck, pulls you in like, man, this is good stuff here.
Well, I'm able to catch those songs when they're born. I mean, she'll wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning and she'll go, hey, I got an idea for a song, and I get to hear it first before anybody does. She'll start bouncing ideas off of me. And usually every time that Kelly comes to me and says, I'm writing a new song, I get excited because I love her writing. She is a great lyricist, a great person with melodies. And the song, I Think It's Jesus, is just a phenomenal song without being a gospel song. It's just talking about things in life that remind us that he's there, and you need to believe. And she is an amazing human being, but it's fun to see her thrive so well with her music and her book that she put out. She's done well.
Yeah, and the whole thing I got to check out, not just single, but then the album come out, Dragonfly, right behind it too, which was
Yeah.
fantastic. And I always encourage people to go download that too. Some great music for everybody on that particular album. Congratulations on another milestone. Like you always have some great ones. You're probably saying like I needed one, but 21 number one hits, of course, that stood out there for, and probably still counting there. But one of them just celebrated its 40th anniversary. And it was Slow Burn. Now, talk about this because this is 1983. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was fortunate to have a great record producer. His name was Jim Ed Norman, who was the head of Warner Brothers at the time. And of course, Jim Ed is the guy that was synonymous to the Eagles. He
Hmm.
produced
Yep.
some of their big hits. And matter of fact, he's been out on tour with them this last tour, along with Vince, our friend Vince Gill,
Hmm.
and the Eagles, and conducting the orchestra because it was like a symphony type tour. But yeah, Slow Burn came along, and Jim Ed Norman, having worked with the Eagles, he knew exactly the harmonies that needed to go into that song when we recorded it to make it a number one. And can't believe it's been 40 years though. Wow, it's amazing how fast the time goes. But one of my favorites, and still, I think a lot of the fans of country music's favorite too.
Hmm. When you look at that number, and of course I say still counting sometimes too, because I know there may be a hidden one out there that for me was you had so many other great songs that I thought were number one hits too. But when you look at that round number and you say, well, 21 number one hits, and you've done this, for all the young artists today, I get asked a lot, and I'm like, well, I just ask the questions. I'm not the artist actually in the field, but what's that key to consistency over time as far as the writing, the production, the stage presence, the live performances, combination of everything?
I think the key ingredient for me to have had so many number ones is the fact that I tried to pick songs and then that people could relate to, songs that would hit you right where you live in the heart. Uh,
Hmm.
I was really big on love songs for a long time, and so we had a big female following. But I did a lot of songs for the guys too. I mean, Party Time and a lot of those kind of songs that the guys love to drink beer to. But I think the
Hmm.
consistency is just finding the songs that people can really feel like the song is written for them.
Hmm.
And if you can find those type of songs, that's usually where your biggest hits come from. We were blessed and fortunate to have found 21 of those songs so far that went number one, and
Hmm.
people connected with them evidently. So the consistency is just finding great songs people can relate to.
You mentioned that friendship with Johnny and Mo with the show coming up this weekend. Johnny, again, I everything from social media to the movie itself to Urban Cowboy to the hit "Looking for Love" and people still singing that today, and it never gets old. A song like that too, and that's the ones you're talking about, where it's like that's the lifestyle of a song that can really tell a great story, and people will never stop singing that. So I know this week you probably cannot wait to hear the legend sing that song again, right? "Looking for Love."
Well, it's incredible. That song is just one of those songs that, of course, I was involved in the urban cowboy movement. I was on tour with Mickey and Johnny in
Hmm.
the beginning of the urban cowboy tour, and that song to me is still one of my favorites. I was talking to John Travolta not long ago. We were actually at Olivia Newton-John's service
Hmm.
in California, and John Travolta was there, and he was telling me still to this day that's his favorite country song is "Looking for Love" because of the movie.
Hmm.
And he is just one of those great guys that knows a great song. He's not only a great actor; he loves country music. But when you get a chance to do a concert with people like Mo and Johnny Lee and myself, the fans or the people who love country music are sitting in the audience and they're hearing nothing but number one songs for 2.5 solid hours.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of unusual in this day and time. So that's why it's so much fun to be able to go out and work with those guys.
Speaking of the other legend, you mentioned that Brink of the Urban Cowboy breakthrough, the tour, that kind of thing, and of course led the movie. I got a chance to talk to Mickey Gilley before he had passed, the late great Mickey Gilley, on my radio program, which was insane. I go back and listen to that show every day, and I tell people out there in the archives, go back and pull it up. What a legend in the industry! Of course, Gilley's in Pasadena for so many years down here, where part of it was filmed, and just a great one of Johnny's favorite hangout spots there. Hell, he was watching the Astros when he came on the show back in 2019. And it's just a fun thing. Just talk about Mickey's presence in the industry, what he meant to country music, and of course, he and Johnny, the friendship for you guys that lives on and on forever.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but 2 weeks before Mickey passed, Kelly and I, along with Mo, Bandy, and Tammy, his wife, and our dear friend Gus Arundel with Springer Mountain Farms, we flew to Laughlin, Nevada, just to surprise Mickey and Johnny. And we were sitting the second row back when the curtain went up, and Mickey looked out and saw us, and it was just, the expression on his face was just incredible. It was the last time I got to see him perform before he passed. And we had dinner that night, and we joked and we told stories and talked about our memories and our days together. And Mickey was just one of those unique individuals that was the real deal. What you saw with Mickey is exactly what you got. I mean, he was the same off stage as he was on stage. He was an incredible friend and will be dearly missed forevermore, but he's left us a great legacy of his music behind that we'll all be able to enjoy for years to come.
Yeah, and I sometimes cry. I do cry listening to that interview back then, because one of the fortunate ones to get to talk to a legend like yourself included there with the late, great Mickey Gilley there too as well. Don't forget, guys, again, this week, Saturday, September 2nd, Pedrati's Ranch, where I got married, fantastic venue out there, 40,000 square feet venue in San Antonio, Texas. T.G. Sheppard, Johnny Lee, and the great Mo Bandy. Ticketbud.com. Get those tickets. Are selling out fast. It's going to be a huge show. Presented by our friends over at Full Circle Moments. We got to take a time out here for the Backstage Pass, presented by our friends at Honky Tonk Texas and Bangtail Whiskey. Coming right back, it is the Sports Guys Podcast.com and also our friends at HighTideCountry.net, fabulous internet radio station out of Oklahoma City. Coming right back, more with T.G. Sheppard. Yes, we're going to talk about Midnight in Memphis. Coming right back.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. We're in the middle of high school football right now. CajunCountryRadio.com. All the Cajun favorites out there and the Zydeco music and some high school football on a Friday night out there. Tune in to hear us out there. Always great calls, and it's always for the kids that we get to do it for out there too. And of course, HighTideCountry.net. Coming up here the next few weeks, we're jam-packed with Josh Turner and Heath Wright from the band Ricochet, and a whole lot more. Jenny Tolman this Thursday, and definitely just cooking with grease, as Lainey Wilson would say in one of her new songs now. Back here with T.G. Sheppard on the Backstage Pass. Again, of course, the big show this Saturday, September 2nd, Helotes, Texas, to be specific, at Pedrati's Ranch. And, of course, Ticketbud.com for the great Mo Bandy, Johnny Lee, and, of course, T.G. Sheppard. Big show out there presented by Full Circle Moments. Get your tickets. If I was in town, I'd be going too, no doubt about it, as far as the big show coming up this weekend. Hey, I want to ask you a lot about, and we talked about this last time, you've been a great guest for me, always supporting my brand, and I always love supporting your radio show out there too, and all the projects you and Kelly are in. But I thought one of the best ones was a slam dunk out there, was Midnight in Memphis. Fantastic music on there, and I'm still, even the shows today and the songs on there that you chose to put on that record still are fan favorites.
Well, I hadn't done a country solo album in 22 years, Brandon, until I did Midnight in Memphis a few years ago, 3 years ago. And my friend Barry Gibb, not name dropping, but he is my brother. I mean, we're like brothers. I mean, we talk all the time. He's a great guy and a talented man in music. He called me up one day and he said, "Hey, Teej, I've written this song called Midnight in Memphis for you. And if you don't record it, it's never going to be recorded, because I wrote it just for you. And I hope that you'll go do a new album." Well, I heard the song, Brandon, and I said, okay, I'm going to go do an album. It was a great song that he had written for me. And so I went in the studio, but I didn't really know at the time where I fit in because country music has been going in so many different directions the last few years. And I told my wife, Kelly Lang, people know her. I said, I don't know where I fit in anymore. It's changed. And she said, look, just go find the greatest songs you can find and they'll take you where you're supposed to be.
Wow.
So I did. And I went and cut a lot of great songs on this album, Midnight in Memphis. It was a labor of love. And it's great to get back on stage now in concerts and do some new music, because, when you have number ones, you're singing those same songs over and over every night of your life. So it's good to have new music to do. But it was a lot of fun going in the studio and doing it. I did do one remake on the album called Black Coffee, which is the old Lacey J. Dalton hit that she had. And I loved that song when she used to open up for me in Vegas. And I put that on the album. So it's been a lot of fun to have new music. And I plan on doing another album again here in the next year. So
staying busy. The what led off that record too, I loved it so much, TG, was I Want to Live Like Elvis. And that was one of my favorites to set the tone for that record. And speaking of Memphis a little bit too, what a great vocals you put to that one.
Well, I live that song. And that's the reason I had to record it. We were in the studio. And Chip Davis, who is the writer, is also one of the backup singers for Alabama on their tour. And he said, man, I wish I'd pitched you this song. And I said, well, what is it? And he said, it's about Elvis. He said, you were there and you lived every line in the song. I wish I'd pitched it. And I said, well, let me hear it. And I heard it. And I said, we're going to hold the album because I'm going in and cut that song for this album. So we held the album up extra month. And I went in and did it. And it's a comical way of describing Elvis's life in about 4 minutes. And, as I say, I lived every line of the song. So it was a lot of fun to do that song.
No doubt. And I'll tell you another one of my favorites off of there, Addicted to You, which is always kind of one of those, for me, I guess it was the love song, my wife, and we enjoyed like a little, just dancing to that one too, having a good old field time that you could just do a little two-step and have a good time. That's a great song too.
Well, Kelly's a great writer, and of course she has my ear constantly with her songs. And I've always loved that song that she co-wrote, and I just felt compelled to put it on the album. It was just, it had such a great feel to it. And albums, when you're recording music, albums are like a private concert for people. The album has to have ebbs and flows, ups and downs. So you need to have some energy in a few of your songs, along with the ballads or up tempos. So that song just fit the album so well with a little bit of energy to it. So I was tickled to be able to do that one that she wrote.
I can't believe TJ next week is, or I should say this week is faster go by. Friday's September already, and we're talking about Halloween and Thanksgiving and the holidays. The cool things that you got to do last November, at least cool in my book, was put out a great Christmas, just great song in White Christmas, featuring the Oak Ridge Boys, that Christmas classic. Are there more plans in the future? And how much fun was this to collaborate with one of the greatest?
Well, I just did the Kentucky State Fair with them last week. Kelly and I was on the Kentucky State Fair show in Louisville with them. And of course, they always draw huge crowds. And we started out together in the beginning. I was their opening act back in the days of Elvira and those big hits, Bobby Sue. It just, being in the studio with those guys, it's not my first time to be in the studio with them because they were on my Legendary Friends album. But doing a Christmas song with them and hearing those harmonies of the Mighty Oaks, man, that you can't beat those guys' harmonies. And yes, Kelly and I will be doing a Christmas album for 2024.
Okay.
And so we'll get in the studio next year, and who knows who we'll bring in to sing with us this time around. But we'll be doing more Christmas music together.
It's going to be an amazing time. Anytime you put out Christmas music there, of course, the feel, the time of year. I want to go back to the Slow Burn. We mentioned it celebrating this past the 40th anniversary of that particular number one hit. And I remember off that record, there was one called Somewhere Down the Line. That was off the old vinyl and, of course, the records that I had, of course, streaming now, too. People can go check it out, too. Just a great song in its own right, too. Is that the one you guys were pretty sure when that record came out that was going to be that's the one to set the tone for it.
Yeah, and the song had been recorded before by another group, and I had heard it, and I couldn't understand why it wasn't a hit because it just had such a great feel to it. And so when it come time to do that particular album, I included it in that, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a number one. I'm not sure. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those fun records that made you feel good when you hear it. And but no, I've been so fortunate to have found certain songs that help set the tone in my career for the last 47 years. 47 years? Are we kidding each other? Have I been doing that this long? Those certain songs come along that set the tone for not only for your albums, but for your career as well. And that was one of those magic songs.
Yeah, you also had one that I loved, the hysterical side of it too, but at the same time, just another one of those good country songs. And you may remember this one too, Blank Check on My Love, which is on the Slow Burn album too, which I thought it was, again, one of those.
I have a lot of people, Brandon, that mention that song. And it's funny that you'd bring it up because a lot of people talk about that song from time to time. Of course, a lot of the album cuts and albums, you don't do those in concert because you stick to the number ones that people are more identifiable with. But that was that was a fun song to do too.
I love that one off. There's so many good ones on the Slow Burn record there too. I still go back and listen to it from time to time. We'll take a final time out here. Coming back, final segment with T.G. Sheppard. Don't forget the big show this Saturday, September 2nd, Padrati's Ranch is the Helotes, Texas down here. And to get your tickets at ticketbud.com for the legend T.G. Sheppard, the legend Mo Bandy, and of course the legend Johnny Lee, all in one night, presented by Full Circle Moments. Our friend Marlene Cox always does a great job putting on those shows out there. I went to a couple last year, and first of all, you'll not go to any other when you go to a Marlene Cox show with Full Circle Moments. You'll be hooked, no doubt. Word from our friends at Bangtail Whiskey in Honky Tonk, Texas. Coming right back, final segment with T.G. Sheppard. It is the Backstage Pass. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, Josh Turner coming up here in a few weeks. We'll talk about his greatest hits album coming out September the 8th. Another just legend in the industry there too. 20 years. He just passed the Long Black Train song. He's on the Long Black Train tour right now. Some cool merchandise out there, some gift packs and just prize packs and cool things out there with the vinyl record that I'd like to purchase out there too if I get my hands on it. Josh Turner coming here in just a few weeks here on the Backstage Pass. Back here, final segment with T.G. Sheppard here at HighTideCountry.net and the SportsGuysPodcast.com. So as far as you mentioned all the work, and you mentioned 47 years of the career, and you guys are still working and doing what you love to do. When it comes to fun time, you mentioned there's a vacation coming up in Florida. What are you and Kelly going to do when you get some downtime?
Well, hopefully the hurricanes will be come and gone. We enjoy I don't know. I think anytime you can go somewhere and see beauty that is just so much bigger than you are, it makes you realize how small you are in the world and how appreciative we should be of the places we live. To go to an ocean or to go to the mountains or somewhere majestic, it humbles me. It really does. So I have to get to the ocean from time to time to realize how small I really am. And my life is not what a lot of people think it is. I mean, I live a very normal life. I love to go to the beach and hang out and go to the mountains. And I don't know, I have an appreciation for places like that make me feel so good. Magic at the ocean, there's magic in the mountains. And so we're headed to Destin, Florida for a few days to kind of sit back and relax and brainstorm about a project that we're in the midst of putting together in the next few weeks. So it'll be a working vacation, but we'll have a lot of fun.
I don't blame you. And Destin's one of those places that once you go there, you go back time and time again to
Oh yeah,
recreate the moment and really let yourself
yeah,
go, because you realize you're right. A small piece of the world, the ocean, so it's so much larger, and we're
yeah.
just here on borrowed time, no doubt about it too. I wanted to ask you about the food cravings. I didn't get a chance to check out a few restaurants there at CRS in Nashville when I was there. We got to a couple different things, but what was the last kind of craving for you and Kelly? Would you guys go out and dine in at?
Well, we love it. We love Mexican food. Okay.
Hmm.
And so we eat Mexican at least once a week. I
Okay.
mean, I'm a chicken fajitas fanatic. Okay. With the beans and the rice and the cheese dip and the hot sauce.
Hmm.
But we also have a love for Italian food. So I guess the last major dining experience was in Nashville and Maggiano's Italian restaurant, which we love. And I mean, we eat out a lot because I'm kind of selfish with Kelly. I don't like her having to spend all of her time in the kitchen and cleaning up after a meal. I'd rather take her out somewhere nice because she works hard herself, and I have respect for that. And but we eat out a lot, and we love Italian and Mexican as I guess our two favorites.
All right, you're going to be the first one to answer this one. It's the debut of it for the rapid fire. So this is something I was thinking about too.
Uh-oh.
This could be a fun question just to
Well, here we
ask,
go.
because you never know what answer you're going to get. Favorite department store, whether it be a chain or independent, that you guys love shopping for anything, groceries, clothes, no matter what it is. What's your favorite department store you and Kelly love to shop at?
Well, it used to be Macy's here, but they closed them. So I guess now we go to Walmart. I mean, who doesn't shop at Walmart? I'm sorry. Okay, you can find anything you want there, or Sam's Club. So
Yeah.
now you can get at those stores now. You can buy anything you want, including a car. So I guess that would be my answer. Macy's, if there's one nearby, or Walmart.
I like it too. Of course, I got into this little Costco thing down here.
Oh
in
yeah,
Texas.
they're building one here now. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is
I'll be a member.
you'd be
Telling you.
guilty as charged right there. With,
Yes,
the-
I'll work at the doors at greeter at Costco. They got good stuff.
and you can eat there for all the freebie stuff they give away too. Is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
The taste test and stuff like that too. Hey, I'll tell you what, you're always one of my favorites here on the show. Slow Burn just celebrated its 40th anniversary as a #1 hit, and so many more. 21 #1 hits, still working out there, still doing his thing. And of course, a big show coming up this weekend with Johnny Lee and Mo Bandy, the legend TG Sheppard, this Saturday night, September 2nd at Helotes, Texas, at Pedrati's Ranch. Get your tickets at ticketbud.com, presented by our friends at Full Circle Moments. Hey, I always appreciate you spending this a little time with us here on the show, and come back anytime. You know you're welcome.
Brandon, I always love my visits with you because nobody does it better than you, my friend. Thank you for having me on the show.
You got it. Tell Kelly I said hello to as well. Get the tickets at ticketbud.com. Sell it out and make it Full Circle Moments big concert of the year here for 2023. We're off tomorrow, back Thursday with Jenny Tolman here on the Backstage Pass, and then we'll tracking down Josh Turner here in just a few weeks here on the show, presented by Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas.